Hello. This is a video. Check out the previous videos if you missed them. A new dawn breaks and we ride. So too does Raki, Easily, and Priscilla towards the town of Pieta. Here it is, here Clare is, and here everyone else is. The quality and quantity of combatants has increased significantly compared to the 3 goobers they whacked last time. Rigardo, the silver-eyed Lion King, has collected the boys and stands at the precipice of battle. The lads scream for intimidation, but the claymores are as ready as can be. Miria reflects on how they'll survive, but puts the thought aside to look at the homies, draw her blade, and incite a war cry. The awakened attack from stealth, completely and one-sidedly obliterating several of the Claymore's numbers. Meanwhile, Easily is elated at the significant loss of life. Deneve and Undine use their newly formed bond to wreak havoc, while Jean and Helen dump their freak biz all over the place. Miria phantom swords some tentacles as well. This lizard is lured into a trap, where Flora and Clare await to spam a hail of torrential slicing. Ricardo observes, shocked that the Claymores are so resilient. He identifies the captains at a glance, then jumps off a cliff. Suddenly, Raki finds that Priscilla has left the caravan and darts off to the direction of some screaming. He finds her discarded cape and tracks her to a nearby cave, where she has begun to ritualistically cannibalize a pleb while in the nude. Raki is understandably startled by this. Back in Pieta, a ghastly Japanese howl calls the awakened away and confuses the warriors. Clare senses something large. It's Robert, who touches a dead homie and states that he can't be having that anymore, undulating dramatically into metamorphosis. A moment later, he targets the captains, easily ripping 2 of them to shreds in a matter of seconds. Raki correctly identifies Priscilla as being Yoma and nervously prepares to strike, but Priscilla's cries for family prevent him from cutting her down. Easily ignores Ronker's confusion and scolds his girl for running off. Raki doesn't seem to believe what his eyes are telling him and desperately attempts to wrest the arm from Priscilla's grasp. Easily enjoys. Meanwhile, Jean's is under attack, so begins to congeal the meat drill. Deneve laments the loss of Undine as Germ attacks. However, her strike misses completely, leading to her visceral defeat. Clare goes Super Saiyan in response, but is gently nudged aside so Rodrigo can poke Flora's forehead and scream. This intimidates the others, but Clare is not deterred from battle so easily. Back in Raki's nightmare, Priscilla forgot to wipe the sauce off her face and makes Raki uncomfortable. She attempts to console him, but this course of action doesn't help. To protect the last remaining captain, the homies initiate a joint defense. Rodriguez bats Deneve away, but his moves are perceptible only to Chair, whose counter impresses him. Raki is enveloped in a battle of ideology within himself. Thankfully, Easily responds to his suffering by essentially stating that Ropey should be more open-minded. Just because Pencil Miller eats people doesn't mean that she likes to. It's likely her fate to be made to do so, and nothing Raki or himself can change that fact. This prompts Ronk to inquire about Easily's identity, but nothing is revealed. Meanwhile, Miria and Clare are the only ones capable of combating the Lion King. Deneve attempts to intervene, but gets caught in the crossfire instead. She contemplates the vanity of imparting platitudes about camaraderie to Undine, only to let her die without retribution to her killer. Things aren't looking too great for the others. Rigardo remains much too elusive to pin down, agitating Clare by demonstrating her weaknesses. Easily sends Raki off to do what he wants, but he responds by clambering onto horseback. Merida begins to show signs of slowing, but takes a nasty wound, then shortly after, receives another. Clare and Halberd, as usual, are tossed aside for their continued meddling. Some refugees from Pieta give the interspecies tripod their final warning to turn back, but they made the mistake of implying that Clare is probably there, so Raki must abide by his desires. Priscilla takes his hand and makes this face, which prompts him to have a flashback to when Clare was about to transform. Easily once more states candidly that impotence is a sin. Rock figures that to prevent another Priscilla from being made, he must depart, thanking Easily with a bow and disappearing into the darkness. Miria turns into a kebab, while Clam and Felon watch helplessly. As the killing blow is struck in slow motion, Clare again reflects on her languidness. Raki takes the opportunity to remember his promise to rendezvous with his girl. As he gallops full speed, so too does Clare, wishing so ardently to save her comrades. The flowing yoki within Clare swells, causing her to awaken, slice Rogert's arm off, and menacingly look into the camera. She awakened just her legs. Very impressive. Having lost an arm, Rogaine is put in a difficult position, not to mention the anomaly that is clarinet. On top of this, Helen yoinks his departed limb, compromising any chance of regeneration. Rodiopo is imbued with great frustration, causing Clare to do a 180 into a wall. It seems she can't properly control her own speed. All Rigardo has to do is move slightly to the side, and she slams into more housing like a bug to a windscreen on a Midwest nighttime drive. Clare is made fun of for this, so determines that simply being fast isn't enough. Meanwhile, easily ponders if Raki has made it to Pieta yet, and reflects on Priscilla's worry. He has arrived. Clare continues her struggle with a little help from Helen. Suddenly, Clare has better control over her speed, probably edging her awakening even harder. Ricardo reevaluates his opinion of Clare, and recalls the last time he enjoyed battle. 'Twas his fight with Easily. He had almost forgotten how great it is to hone one's skills against a strong opponent. Having thinked this thought, Rigro introduces himself as Rigardo, the silver-eyed Lion King, and explodes. Raki peeps the desolation, as Easy and Piss approach as well. Eager happily reminisces on his lion boy's smell, sensing his gyrations from afar. The contest of freak moves goes a little bit out of control as the collateral compounds. Mamiria observes from the sidelines and insightfully points out that Clare is faltering. It's Raki. He's saved from an eruption of debris. Helen thankfully throws him in with the injured, and he is recognized as Rakarini. Despite the constant warnings to GTFO, Raki wants to reunite with his girl. Miria doubts the possibility of that, but he exits his sojourn to find that Clare has goat legs now. Her awakening is progressing quickly. Raki can't be having that, recalling Priscilla's suffering briefly in response. This fight is pretty far out of hand, however, inciting images of Yoma in the lab. He falls to his knees in sorrow. Clare takes a firm slap to the dome and figures she needs more power. This causes Rigorn to scream louder, pick up a house, and proclaim his victory. And now Clare is Mega Clare. Eraser is startled, and Priscilla begins to have PTSD flashbacks. The other Claymores feel it too. Mega Clare blends Rigardo into several toaster-sized nuggets a moment later. Priscilla witnesses the ghost of Teresa come back to haunt her. The homies are amazed that their ace defeated the Yoma. However, they forgot that she probably can't control herself anymore, and she signals the departure of the Witch King. This essentially tells Penicillin to escape, so she does, leaving easily to Yara Yara in her wake. Mega Clare vibrates uncontrollably, as her body can no longer tell friend from foe. She tells Helen to dump truck her dome before she transforms. Jean doesn't approve from 40 feet away. Helen doesn't approve either, but Clare throbs harder and lights the beacons. Meanwhile, Priscilla stumbles around a recently sacked town, encountering a hallucinatory scene, which incites the recreation of the moment her family was massacred. She's steppy away from the trauma, only to trip onto another flashback. Prince Griller begins to remember her battle with Teresa, and questions her self-concept. It turns out that her Otosan was a Yoma, so she killed him. It's a lot of pressure to put on anyone, let alone a little girl without a fully developed amygdala. Recollecting these repressed memories seems to tickle her delusion that Teresa somehow killed her family instead of the papa. She explodes. Clare thinks to herself that she sure would like to see Raki one last time. He just quivers uselessly though. Jean tries to walk, but her juice falls out. Helen really doesn't want to decapitate a homie, but it is what it is. Suddenly, Priscilla's Yoki swirls abound. She opens her lids, lets it all hang out, and questions why Teresa is still around, especially after ruining her life. Clare remembers and explodes. It's a good thing that she's only interested in kaiju fighting with Priscilla. Galathea senses an aurora borealis at this time of year, at this time of day, in this part of the country, localized entirely within the kitchen. Raffle Orsay was lurking around and sends her to the northern lands for an emergency quest, only to watch though. Galathea Yara Yara is at Clare for awakening and heads off. Having sensed the goings-on already, Easily is thrilled to be a part of something so exhilarating and tells the lads to chill out and watch the fireworks. Back in Pieta, Miria has a handle on the immediate logistics and sets sights on possibly finding Clare, realizing that all the girls had the same idea. Deneve bids Undine's corpse a fond farewell, stating that a friend's sword is good enough for a tombstone, and taking up her captains to go. Raki is re-equipped as well, but seems to have forgotten that impotence is a sin, so is warned not to follow and left behind. On the hunt for Clare, the Triad of Trouble tangles up with Galathea, who teases them a little bit before pointing at a suspicious volcano. Glapper informs them of the the upcoming duel, which startles Murphy. Meanwhile, Raki has become despondent, but is inspired by Jean, who seems to not be very concerned about recently becoming a donut. Despite her holiness, she remains determined to go help Clare out. Raki figures he could probably be useful as Jean's crutch at least, and tags along. The homies Naruto run towards literal hell, while Mega Clare and Priscilla are about to unleash a nuclear winter onto the world via kaiju battle. The referee watches from the sidelines, while Mega Clare and Priscilla insult each other. Their battle commences, but Clare is currently very outmatched. Easily takes note that Priscilla has reverted back to her mental state post-awakening, and figures out that Clare is half Claymore. Helen and Deneve discuss Clare's relation to Priscilla, and eventually Miria is asked through her silence if she knows anything. She informs them that Clare isn't half-yoma, but half Teresa. The homies are sickened, but everything makes sense now. Even with this information, things haven't changed for them, and the warriors continue to parkour through Mordor. Meanwhile, Jin and Raki find a road sign that points there, left by the others, and gush about Clare to one another, which inspires them. Clare is being thrashed at this point, which causes Priscilla to question why she's so weak. This enrages Clare, who is almost immediately impaled by Posse's horn and imprisoned in a finger cage. She is toyed with a little bit, then saved at the last second by the homies. Clare gets a scolding, and they stand before Priscilla, who believes herself to be still a Claymore. They attack, but Priscilla can see in both directions. Her wing falls off, however, which encourages Pringletiller to annihilate the local scenery with her aura. Jean notices and picks up the luggage to more efficiently dart towards Clare. It turns out that Priscilla wasn't even completely awakened yet, but I guess she is now. Standing at 6'3" and boasting a sick new coiffure, she shoots beams from her wings, incapacitating Helen. Miria attempts her namesake, but it is painfully ineffective. Seeing this predicament, Donger makes a move as well, ultimately leading to Helen's further debilitation and her own ticket to the VA. The homies take a lot more damage, and Miria reviews Priscilla's power, easily isn't surprised, and smiles at Clare, who has been watching her comrades be slaughtered. Again, this is exactly why she ate Teresa to begin with, to fight for those she lost, and for those she doesn't wish to lose. If she can't do that, then what was the struggle even for? Mega Clare evolves again, just in time for Germ to watch, and Raki to scream in slow motion. Clare makes sure to internalize the years of aggregated murderous rage, and becomes Yoma. This offends Priscilla, who makes a move, but is damaged slightly. Seeing that the two are now more evenly matched, Easily is more aroused than ever before. Galatia is in a church somewhere. The homies observe the absolute insanity of battle, as Raki laments the duel between both of his ladies. He doesn't understand that this was fated to happen, whether he approves or not. Suddenly, Clare is grabbed by the arms and questioned as to whether she is actually Teresa.
She kind of smells the same.
But Priscilla knows she isn't Trapezo and fills her with holes. Unfortunately for Palmetto, stating that Clare isn't Teresa causes her to spiritually manifest her inner Teresa even more, budding wings and displacing Priscilla's. The hallucination of her mortal foe intimidates Priscilla into reverting back to small girl mode. Clare winds up the killing blow, but Raki intervenes to try for a happy ending. Citing the battle as being too cruel, he begins to monologue. Everyone present is at a net loss to the Yoma, even if they kill each other here. Simply creating more bodies won't help this. Clare doesn't abide by his wishes at first, which is understandable, but after a gentle hug, Clare begins to hesitate. Finally, Raki promises his love and protection if she would only live as a human. She can't control her noodles though, and spikes Jeaners, who rushed in to save Raki. Peen compliments him on living boldly, then informs Clare that she's just returning the favor. If she wiggles her yoki together with her, then she might be able to regain control over herself. Clare doesn't want to accidentally kill her, but she kind of already has, so she should at least take Jean up on that offer to help. They synchronize yogurt dramatically as Clare continues to resist. Jean reminds her that many homies have entrusted their wills to her. She should take that more seriously looking forward. And Clare returns to the realm of humanity. She holds Jean's lifeless body with sorrow, but easily interrupts by swooping in to yoink Priscilla. Everyone prepares for battle, but this would be inelegant, so Eraser tells Raki that they'll meet again, and teleports away. Hellion has had enough of all these absurd monstrosities, and Miria agrees. Raffalorze goes to tease Galatia, who scrapes him off by being snide. Jean gets a regular impromptu funeral, and the homies all part ways. Deneve's battle for vengeance continues outside the organization. Miria is going to keep investigating within, and Helen figures she'll just follow Deneve. They touch swords for the last time, promising to meet again, spiritually including Clare, who slowly reaches out to Jean's blade while reflecting on her parting words of wisdom. She apologizes to Raki for being so troublesome, stating that she'll be deserting the organization and embarking on a new journey. Clare invites Raki to follow, and he graciously accepts, parting the heavens for the first time in quite a few episodes, and increasing feeling the saturation of everything. Galatea looks up, Miria looks forward, Helen eats an apple with Deneve, Claire looks behind her and questions whether she is alive, which prompts Teresa's ghost to say hello. Claire smiles, touches herself, then remembers to be a human who lives amongst humans, and that's the end of Claymore. Hey, welcome to an outro. I have more outros if you want to watch those too. There are links abound for all of those, including my Patreon, where you can watch all my stuff ad-free, I think. Also, it is where I grift. If you want more Claymore, the manga continues the story. That's all for now, probably. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna start making another dumb video now. Bye.